Every one of our souls has a signal generator that has the opportunity to generate its own virtual experiences in what we call dreams. The soul also has, a receiver, and it receives transmissions. If you think about it in terms of, look around, we can't look around us in this sense, but if we, for this example, I've got Wi-Fi at the moment, and I'm able to surf the internet with the browser. So we have, internet Wi-Fi signals. We have mobile phones. His phone just went off. So we have mobile phone signals. We have TV signals. We have radio signals. They're all there as a big jumble, are they not? Interacting with us right now. But all of the telecom companies, the TV broadcasters, the radio stations have agreed to have those signals at different frequencies. So although they're all here right now occupying the same space-time domain, they operate in a different frequency domain. They all are operating within a frequency domain at a different frequency. Does that make sense? And if you can imagine the universe from my perspective, I'm not talking from science's perspective, not mainstream science as such, but from my perspective as an out-of-body explorer, as a spiritual explorer, I see the entire multidimensional universe as a big frequency domain. And within that frequency domain, you have these like radio stations, TV stations, telecoms companies, and they create, and I'm talking, this is like in a big grandiose sense like E.T. and non-physical humanity and all this other stuff. They're creating these virtual worlds, virtual realities that are this. Now the thing that separates, part of us that makes us skeptical is the idea of physicality. But it's so physical. But if you have a particular, let's say a space-time domain within that big frequency domain of the multidimensional universe, and one of its rule sets is people will experience something that we call physical. Okay? Physicality. It's just a rule set. It's just the physics of that space. But it can still be in the space of your mind. Tom Campbell would say, virtual reality is within the actual reality of your consciousness. So to me, consciousness is this formless, intelligent substance, like I said earlier, that penetrates every level of reality. It is one huge frequency domain. If a soul is advanced enough, developed enough, it can, with its inbuilt virtual reality generator or signal generator, it can create a domain, a time domain, a space domain within this frequency domain. So let's say that within this frequency domain where there's this infinite frequency range, where different radio stations, different TV stations, different reality systems are all broadcasting at a different frequency. And then this sort of parameter of space gets created. So there's a space domain now within that frequency domain. So all of those different frequencies are now occupying the same space. Is that not what's happening here on the physical Earth with TV and radio signals and the internet, Wi-Fi, etc.? It's all within the same space-time domain. So you could now theoretically have, within that space domain, you could have individual operators, souls, creators, start to create virtual reality systems of a different time domain. A different time domain within that bigger space domain, which is in that frequency domain. And you can get as many virtual realities created as you want. And everything in it, in that sense, that's a form-based reality, is physical. It's just physical at a different frequency. And this is the curious thing. So I want to read out a few of my false awakenings in particular. Who's familiar with false awakenings? Okay, a few of you. So I'm going to have to explain this. And then you might go, wait a second, I think I've had a few of those in my life. Can you imagine, and hopefully you can because you've experienced it, you wake up in the morning, maybe you just look over your shoulder and you see your partner or flatmate, somebody doing something, and then you're and you fall back to sleep. And then you wake up, or no, you don't fall back to sleep. You see your partner doing something, like maybe my partner Sky, She's up, she's getting dressed to go out for work, and then I wake up again a second time, and she's lying next to me in bed. I woke up, I saw her getting dressed, and then in a sense I lost all lucidity, and I woke up a second time. This is called a false awakening. You think you've woken up from a dream, but you haven't. I'm going to illustrate that with one of my experiences. False awakening, 2nd August 2005. I woke from a lucid dream on the sofa in the lounge, where I fell asleep the night before, and noticed a ceiling fan spinning around and around on the ceiling. I then remembered, we don't have a ceiling fan. And I thought, false awakening. Now lucid in a second dream, I stood up and I walked towards the bay window with the intent to walk straight through it. But instead I wound up face planting a very real pane of glass, so smack. The shock of smashing into the glass face first woke me up from the dream as I found myself lying on the sofa for a second time. Damn false awakening, I mumbled, as I rubbed my nose out of instinct. It was that real. I then thought maybe I should perform a reality check before getting off the sofa this time. A reality check is basically, if I was in a dream and I had anything that suddenly alerted to me that this might be a dream, I could test it. Old reality test is something like you take your fingers from one hand and I try to put them through the other hand. Okay? The palm of the other hand. This is an old classic lucid dreaming technique. Now, in physical reality, come on, everybody try. Try to put your fingers through your hand. Come on, everybody, just please, everybody have one go. No? Anybody succeed? Okay. Now, if that was a dream, a majority of us, we'd be like, holy shit! Look at that! And your fingers would have actually passed through your hands. Because in a dream state, there are no, sort of laws of physics as such. So therefore that can happen. And that would then be a sign that you're awake, you're now lucid in a dream, or that you are in a dream. So you confirm that. So I'll continue the experience. Damn false awakening, I mumbled. I then thought maybe I should perform a reality check before getting off the sofa this time, to save myself from face planting any more hard surfaces. So I held out my left hand, and I shook it for a few seconds, like this, because this is more of a fail-safe technique. So I'm shaking my hand like this, and then I'd stop and I'd look at it, I'd shake it again, I'd look again, shake it again, and then I'd look at it again. If I did that in a dream, a few things would happen. My consciousness needs to render this hand again. So I'm looking at it, there's 5 fingers. I'm now shaking it, and now it has to render it again. It ain't going to be the same. My fingers might be longer. There might be little fingers and thumbs coming off my little finger. Weird stuff will happen. Long, gross fingernails, like, oh, geez, I really need to cut those more often. But stuff like that will happen. Who's a lucid dreamer? Who's had lucid dreams where you've used the hand techniques like that and that kind of thing has happened? Put your hand up, please. Look around you. See the hands. Put a hand up high. There's about 7 or 8 people in the room who's already had that experience, okay? So that will happen. Okay, so at which point, nothing changed. So nothing changed when I did that. At which point, I was fairly certain I was back in my real lounge in waking reality. As I laid on the sofa thinking about the false awakening and the realism of the experience, I asked myself, can you really make a distinction between real and virtual, or is this all really just one big mental construct? Walking into the glass window felt every bit as physically real as it would in waking reality. Who's had a lucid dream in this space who has experienced the dream as being as physically real as your waking world? Look around you again. Look around. Look at the evidence there. This is at least a third of the room.
Even more real, actually.
Pardon?
Even more real than the real one.
It can be even more real than the physical world that we're used to, that we're conditioned with. I want to read another experience before I move on. Lucid experience, 18 April 2007. Woke up from a dream with some lingering imagery, so some hypnagogic images. Although I had a strong awareness of my physical body, so I'm lying there, I've got my eyes closed, and I can feel my physical body, so I know I'm in my bed. Although I had a strong awareness of my physical body, I kept my eyes closed in the hope of using the imagery to transition into a lucid dream state. After doing some deep abdominal breathing, the imagery became very vivid as I found myself standing in a steam-filled room. So there's lots of steam all around me. I was in absolute wonder of the seamless transition from being aware of my physical body in bed to now standing in the steam-filled room without a break in awareness. So I knew I was in my bed. I had a little imagery left over from a previous dream that I was playing around with. I could feel my physical body. If I would have opened my eyes, I would have seen my bedroom. But I kept them shut because this is also a sort of a technique that you want to work towards, to where when you start to become consciously aware, you keep your eyes shut because it's gold territory. If you can keep your eyes shut from coming out of a sleep cycle, you can usually quite effortlessly induce lucid dreams. So I'm aware of my physical body, my eyes are shut, I'm playing around with imagery left over from a previous dream, and then I sort of start to create, working with the imagery, and then it was literally transitioned into a full three-dimensional physical reality. I could feel the water vapor on my face. I could feel the cold tiles underneath my feet. I was in bed a moment before. I could feel my physical body. I am now, within seconds, transported somewhere else, and it's just as physically real. I was marveling at the realism of the experience. As I stood enjoying the sensation of the steam on my face, I heard a loud scream coming from behind me. As I turned around, I was confronted by a naked woman whose bathroom I seemingly had teleported into. She slapped me hard across the face, which immediately broke the dream state. The woman and her steam-filled bathroom faded as I opened my eyes to my bedroom. We weren't together yet, thankfully. Strangely, I could feel a sting of pain from the slap on my face as I lay in bed. Later that day, a slight bruising appeared where the woman slapped me. There was a bruise on my face later in the day, right where she slapped me.